Let people trickle in for another minute. Hey everyone, we'll get started. Thank you all for having me.
Do you want to do the introduction or should I?
It would be lovely if you would. Thank you.
So hi, welcome to the session about honors in the graduate thesis for political science. My name is Nikola Mirilovic. I'm an associate professor in the department and the honors undergraduate thesis coordinator. And we're going to begin by having Amanda Ammirati of the Honors College go over some information about the honors undergraduate thesis with you, and you can ask some questions, both of her and of me, later.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here. I don't anticipate this going longer than an hour, so and I have a lot of information to cover in my PowerPoint. So if you have any questions, maybe just make a note of them. And if I don't answer them naturally in the presentation, feel free to let us know closer to the end. So I'm going to screen share and pull up the presentation. Bear with me. Okay, here we go. Can you see this PowerPoint screen?
Yep,
Everyone?
it's visible.
Okay, cool. Cool, thank you. All righty. So I'm here to chat with you about a really exciting opportunity, and one that I think that all, if not most, undergraduates should pursue. And that's the Honors Undergraduate Thesis Program. And the Honors Undergraduate Thesis Program is housed under the Burnett Honors College. And it's a way for students who didn't already enter UCF as honor students. It affords you the opportunity to join the Burnett Honors College, become one of the Burnett Honors Scholars, and a tight-knit community of people who really want to excel and go above and beyond. So that's one way of getting into the Burnett Honors College. And then we also have a lot of students who are already university honors scholars who also go on to pursue this. And there are many benefits. We'll talk about it. But what I'm here to talk to you about is specifically for the School of Politics, Security, and International Affairs. And a lot of what I say today, you may think, oh, this sounds super scary, but really it's not. It is a prestigious opportunity that you're taking on, and it's one that's independent, and it's exciting because you're forging your own path in your discipline. So it may sound like a scary moment, but you just got to start and devise a plan and take it from there. So the Office of Honors Research is composed of the director, Dr. Padmini Kupama Waldron. She sends her well wishes. She's the director. I'm the coordinator. So I handle the admission, the acceptance, all administrative processes, and then a lot of questions that students have throughout the program, I would be the one to handle that. So if you do proceed with applying and joining, you and I will get to know each other very well. We also have two amazing student assistants, both who are in the HUT program, Abigail and Omar, and they're also, as peer advisors, they can assist you with offering the student experience, and they're happy to meet with you at any time that works for both of you. So you're welcome to reach out to us and schedule a peer advising appointment. There are other research opportunities that you can go on to pursue at UCF as undergraduates. The Summer Research Academy is a 3-day course event, and it's an event intro into research at UCF. It's a great opportunity for that sort of crash course introduction into everything that's going on at UCF. There's also McNair and RAMP, which preps students for doctoral studies through individualized academic and personal support. And that's an amazing opportunity as well, because they work with you to customize your path based on what it is that you're hoping to pursue. Intro is 2 semesters. There's seminars, peer support, one-on-one faculty advising. So you can do a combination of these or all of them. But what we're going to be talking about today is the HUT program. So all amazing opportunities going on. So how can you prepare yourself for the process? The Office of Undergraduate Research, they also have peer mentor advising, and where they differ from our peer mentoring advising in the Office of Honors Research is that they help you to identify those other opportunities that you can layer and stack that would help to make your honors or your undergraduate research journey make the most sense for you, and they help you to identify those opportunities that can help build your CV, make you an excellent candidate for your future goals. Another opportunity that I would encourage you to do before proceeding in the process is to speak with an academic advisor about how can this fit into your graduation plan, where do you have any potential either gaps or places that you can either make a substitution. Everybody has a different sort of plan and where they're at, so you definitely want to speak to an advisor about those and your electives. So there are a lot of things to consider, but if you speak with an advisor, they can help you to determine what makes sense for you and the amount of time you have left. The Honors Undergraduate Thesis Program allows students like yourself to engage in original and independent research as principal investigators. So what does that mean specifically? The originality of the project means that you're answering a question that's not been answered before. So you're creating new knowledge in the discipline because you are representing your own insights and conclusions based on what is out there and maybe gaps in information rather than already received and published ideas. The independent aspect of it is that you are designing your own research project rather than having it assigned to you, and you are having light oversight by a faculty member. So it's not like your typical course where you have a syllabus, every sort of point and assignment and date is already mapped out. This is something that you and your thesis chair are devising together, a plan that makes sense for you. And from there, you're able to carry it out. So it is independent and flexible within your schedule and everything that's going on in your life. But it's also something that takes great care to organize, come up with that plan that's feasible, that also allows for you to meet your goals. So that's the goal here. The Honors Undergraduate Thesis Program is a 2 to 4 semester program, typically for juniors and seniors, but really it has to do also on the number of credits that you have. So you may have come in as a freshman or a sophomore with a certain number of credits. So we'll get into the admission criteria in a few, but it's 2 to 4 semesters, and I would advise students not to wait until the last possible time in which they can start the thesis and have only 2 semesters, because sometimes, and I think some of the faculty would agree with this, that sometimes the best research is done over the course of 3 and 4 semesters. So it all depends on how much time you have left. But if you are approaching your senior year, it is possible for you to still accomplish this. And that's what we have it set up that way for. It's open to all UCF students and all majors. In the program, you'll research, write, defend, and publish your honors thesis. And this thesis is published through the university library called STARS.
Did she freeze for anyone else?
No.
Looks like we are dealing with a technical issue, so maybe let's give Amanda a minute to try to resolve it.
Sounds good.
Sorry, everyone. My internet connection cut out. Sorry. I apologize. Bear with me. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Ay. Gotta love it. So yeah, many downloads, your work matters, people are accessing it. And on this database, you can also see, I say when you post your honors thesis, because the goal is that you're going to be doing that. You're going to have your own link that shows you your downloads, your personal downloads, and you can actually manipulate it to say, okay, how many downloads have I had over the last month? And depending, or year, or all time, and depending on what's going on in the news, you may find that you have a spike in viewership, which is pretty cool. And you'll be able to tell your future employers when you go on graduate school and professional school, all of the things you may be interviewing for, you'll be able to bring these stats and say, my thesis has been downloaded 2,000 times over the last year. That's a pretty cool stat to be able to bring. Let me move this. Okay, there we go. So how do you qualify? I'll show you how to access that soon. It's an online form. It's very easy to fill out. That tells us in the Office of Honors Research that you're interested in proceeding in the process if you qualify. This eligibility form is non-binding, so if you fill it out and then you decide later on that you don't want to do it, we won't be, finding you or anything like that. It's non-binding, but of course we hope that you proceed. What I will be checking on your degree audit is the 4 following criteria. 60 overall completed credits, 12 completed upper division credits, so 3,000, 4,000 level credits, a 3.4 or higher UCF or overall GPA, and at least 2 semesters remaining prior to graduation, as we spoke about before. So if you meet that criteria, then you will be accepted. If you're hoping to write a thesis in any of the subjects listed below, which I doubt based on the school, they have extra eligibility requirements, but I won't get into that because I doubt it applies to many of you. So this is it. So if you qualify, great. And if you think that, okay, I meet 3 of these criteria, but I'm currently taking my 12 upper division, credits this semester, and if I see that you will qualify at the end of this semester, then you'll be issued a conditional acceptance, and then I'll check your degree audit once grades post, make sure you have everything, and then you'll be good to go. So please do take a look at your audit. You can see what I'll be seeing, but you don't have to do that. I will gladly review it for you when the time comes. So what does hot research look like? Because you as the student and your thesis chair are coming up with the topic that you want to dive into and the scope of the research that you're doing within that topic, it can be, sometimes it's very specific and a smaller scope because you only have 2 semesters, and sometimes the grand ideas that we hope to accomplish during an honors undergraduate thesis project, sometimes they're just too large because projects take many years for a faculty member or somebody at a higher level to accomplish that work. But that's another reason why your thesis chair is critical in this process, because not only do they help you to identify what is a reasonable amount of work to accomplish within this timeline, they'll also help you to carry it out, and plan with you. So here are a handful of recent examples from SPSIA, and you can take a look at this tiny URL link, and you'll be able to see them as well. And you can go through, you can click, this is a picture, so I won't click it, but you can download the theses that speak to you. You could take a look at what is a general expectation of the thesis chair that is listed on the thesis, and you can see how long they are, what are the different parts of the thesis that you can expect to have to write. And since these are most recent, you can also see, again, who are the chairs who have typically been working with students. But department website will also be able to tell you which faculty members qualify as far as their title. So what you want to be looking for in a thesis chair is either they are a professor, a full professor, associate professor, or lecturer. That is needed in order for somebody to qualify to chair your thesis.
Sorry, so just to jump in, assistant professor as well.
Correct, yes. Yep, any type of professor and then or lecturer. So here are just a few numbers that I wanted you all to know about SPSIA theses. Currently, we have 25 students enrolled in HUT taking courses, 22 of whom are writing a thesis in political science, 3 are international and global studies. 5 students have completed a thesis in political science and they're waiting to graduate. So we're super excited about that. So the thesis doesn't need to be a huge groundbreaking research project, as I mentioned earlier. Sometimes it is a piece of a larger question, but at the end of the day, the goal is that you are demonstrating your mastery of the discipline and a capacity for independent work. So you're showing those future employers or graduate school, professional school, that not only can you see something through that you commit to, but you can do it really well and be published and graduate with honors and all of that fun stuff. So how's it structured? What we're going to be covering is honors in the major or an interdisciplinary thesis, because the engineering thesis does not apply here. But the honors in the major is essentially that. Let's say you're a political science student and you would like to conduct research in political science. That would be an HIM or honors in the major thesis. And the discipline in which you write the thesis is determined by the thesis chair. So let's say you want to work on a thesis with an anthropology faculty member. That would be an interdisciplinary thesis if you're a political science major. So you can write a thesis in any discipline. It just depends on, you know, which one you choose and the faculty member that you partner up with. That will determine whether it's in the major or interdisciplinary. So the interdisciplinary thesis option has been growing in popularity. We recommend it because not only does it allow you to be super creative in the topics that you're tackling, but it also promotes a lot of partnering across disciplines that we love to see. So think outside the box. We really encourage it. But I also understand the value in pursuing research specifically in the discipline that you want to pursue going forward. So either way, can't go wrong. So this is a little diagram of what you can expect to see in the honors undergraduate thesis course flow. So if you end up taking 2 semesters, the top 2 courses in gold are what you will expect to take. So Directed Readings 1 is the first course of the program, and it's a required 3 credits. And during this semester, you are expected with your thesis chair to identify and dive deeper into the readings of the topic that you want to pursue and further narrow down what it is that you want to pursue. And then you start your thesis proposal. Assuming you can finish your thesis proposal within 1 semester, then you can move on to thesis 1. Some students, some students need an extra semester to finish that thesis proposal. And that's totally fine, assuming you have enough time in your graduation plan to account for the following semesters. Directed Readings 2 is optional for 1 or 3 credits, and it's your choice. At the end of Directed Readings 1 or 2, we have that proposal. Everything is approved by your committee. You get it in on time, in the correct format, and all that fun stuff, along with your registration form for Thesis 1. Thesis is the semester in which you will finish writing your thesis, you'll defend the thesis, do format review, and ultimately have your thesis approved and publish it. So it's a lot that goes on in that semester, and we do see that students sometimes need Thesis 2. So there are different ways you can go about it. You can do a combination of 3 of these. It's really customizable to where you're at in the program. You can expect to have a minimum of 2 semesters, 6 credit hours. So when you are speaking with your advisor to see if this works for you in your graduation plan, you want to keep that in mind. But as you can see here, it could also be a maximum of 12 credits. So consider all of that. And for university honors students, Thesis 1 can be used toward your honors requirements. So there are a few different ways that students approach faculty or identify a project. At the end of the day, you have to have a thesis chair in order to start HUT, but here are a few different ways you can start thinking about how you want to go about this. So the first way that I like to explain is maybe there was a faculty member so far at UCF, or maybe you have a faculty member right now, and maybe you really respect the work and the literature or research that they've already published, and you'd like to partner up with them on something. You just don't really know exactly what type of project would be best. I would encourage you to make sure that they qualify to chair the thesis, and if they do, reach out to them. But first, read and research the work they've done, because you want to have a basis of why it is that you're reaching out to them. It's a good look, and it's highly recommendable to do that, because then you're reaching out with some solid, concrete information. I know this about your work, and it's inspired me to reach out because I'd like to pursue X, Y, and Z, or chat with you about pursuing an honors thesis, as opposed to, hi, Dr. So-and-so, what do you do? You know, that's not a good look, especially for somebody who wants to pursue research. So treat this from the very beginning as a job interview, because these people that you're going to be working with, these faculty members, they will be integral in providing some really stellar letters of recommendation, because they're working so closely with you on a project that is very in depth. So from the beginning, you want to put your best foot forward, your most professional, way about you. You want to have that when you're emailing people. So reach out, start that conversation, and together you can come up with a project. Another way students go about it is they have a project, an idea that they know that they want to pursue, and they just need to find the right faculty member to match up to work on it with. This topic could be something that you covered in class, but maybe you didn't cover it as much as you would have liked. It's like a topic that's like a rock in the bottom of your shoe. You want to learn more about it. Maybe there is something that got you into this field that inspired you to get into this field, and you want to do that. So from there, you can take a look at faculty members who not only qualify, but who have done research in that field, and they would be good faculty members to approach about your wonderful ideas. So a few different ways to go about it. There are many reasons why I would recommend that you do an honors thesis. I wish I had the opportunity at my institution, but what I can tell you is just from seeing at this point several cycles of students go through the honors undergraduate thesis program. I have personally seen some students say it's the hardest thing they've ever done, but it's the best thing they've ever done. And for many reasons, there's personal, intellectual, and professional growth. You learn a lot about yourself, and sometimes, it helps you to solidify, your goals going forward by actually doing and performing the research. It helps you prepare for the job market in graduate school, and you're showing those future employers or recruiters, interviewers, that not only do you want to go above and beyond, but you have made a conscious effort to add knowledge to your discipline, to make your mark, forge your own path. And that type of determination and drive is something that is sought after, and it's respected. And so it really is something that I would encourage you to do for those reasons, but also you get to be part of the Burnett Honors College, a community of talented peers who all want the best for one another, and you can, network with each other. And it also, typically when everybody's on campus, it's also a great place to gather, study, recenter yourself. We have a lot of events. Dean Sheila is very approachable, and she hosts a lot of the events, so she's a great person to know. We also have free printing in the Honors College lab, computer lab. You have access to hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships through the Honors College, and you can enroll in honors courses on a space available basis. So if there's a few seats left in a course that you wouldn't have otherwise had access to, you can request that you be enrolled in it if there are seats left. You've reduced cost poster printing. So once you complete your thesis, and ideally maybe you have a semester or two after you complete your thesis, but you're still at UCF, you can put together a beautiful poster representing a visual, a visual representation of your research, and you can use that to present, whether it be a virtual conference, which now, that's the way of the world, but before all of this, we encourage students to go to conferences and, sort of go in that low stakes environment with other undergraduates who are presenting their research, but it also gives you an opportunity to practice explaining your research, both to people who know a lot about your topic, and then other people who, like myself, who may not know all the ins and outs of, your discipline. So you'd be able to practice communicating it to people at all levels, which is a great skill to have. And then we do have UCF affiliated housing for honor students. I'm working my way up, but you earn honors distinction on your diploma and transcript, which is excellent. You're graduate as a Burnett Honor Scholar, and you will forever be. And that upper level research credit is documented on that transcript so that you can also show your employers, if they do request it, that you have it and you can show your grade. So how do I get started? So the first step in the process is to submit that eligibility form. All you have to do is go to www.tinyurl.com/HUT-eligibility. That's that non-binding form that I mentioned that lets me know you'd like me to review your audit. Then, depending on whether you're accepted or not, regardless of whether you're accepted or not, you will receive an email from my office letting you know. And if it's a yes or a conditional yes, we will send you the paperwork. That way you could get started on getting that done with your thesis chair, identifying your thesis chair if you don't already have one. So here are some dates I want you to keep in mind if you're thinking of starting HUT in spring, which is fast approaching, feels like. The eligibility form for spring needs to be filled out by December 4th. That allows me enough time to review all of them, get you the information, get you the forms. That way you can have the forms, sorry. That way you can have the forms submitted and completed, oh my gosh, sorry, by December 18th. Or earlier, preferably. But December 18th allows us enough time to then enroll you in the course. So you're not expected to enroll in this course. I do that for you. I send you an email confirmation once it's done, but we need all that paperwork in order to have that done. The registration form will require the signature of your thesis chair and the HUT liaison, which is Dr. Mirilovic in this case. So I'm going to leave this up just so that you can take a picture or, you know, whatever you want to do. But in the meantime, I'm just going to take a look at the chat, see if there's any. Cool. So that's pretty much, that's an overview, and those are the next steps, how to qualify, all of that. So, does anybody have any, would now be the time to open up for questions, Dr. Mirilovic, or would you like to say a few words on the faculty side?
Yeah, I'll just make some brief comments and we can open up for questions. So thank you, Amanda, for the presentation. I think it was great. And
Thank you.
there's a couple of things that I would like to emphasize. In terms of our school's requirements, we do not have additional ones relative to the Honors College. And then I just wanted to tell you a couple of things about why it is a good idea to do this. So one is that, you know, in the world that we live in, because of the internet, there is a lot of information out there. But it remains a difficult task to figure out what is important and what is not, how to test which claims are correct and which are not, how to organize that information. And the best way to learn how to do that is to do research yourself. So if you have your own original research project, you will be dealing with these types of questions, tackling them, and you will be learning about various procedures that you can follow in order to figure these things out. Then also there is another benefit in terms of this gives you freedom. So if you will have a lot of influence in setting your own agenda if you do your original honors project. And that's something that is unusual in the world, right? Most of the people, most of the time are working for somebody else, have to follow somebody else's agenda. So this is your opportunity to have a say to direct a research project based on what you want to do. And then within the context specifically of political science, say if you have international interests, there are many countries that are not studied very much, their politics or how they have approached a certain question. So unless you do it, perhaps nobody will. And you may bring a unique perspective that nobody else has to answering some kind of a question that you're interested in. And then on a more of a practical note, probably a lot of you are interested in going on to graduate school or to law school. So one thing that is going to help you get into a good program is having strong letters of recommendation. and you will probably be getting some of them from UCF faculty. Now in UCF, we generally have large classes, right? But if you do honors undergraduate thesis, you're working closely with 2 or 3 faculty members and just you, as opposed to there being 70 people in the class. So this is an opportunity for a faculty member to get to know you really well. And that then helps them write a stronger letter of recommendation because they have more to say, they can be more definitive about it. So I'm going to stop there and we're going to take your questions.
Hi, Dr. Mirilovic and Amanda. I'm not sure if you're a doctor, Amanda. I'm sorry if you are.
No, you call me Amanda.
Thank you. So I wanted to ask if we can publish the research that we do in our honors in the major in other journals or in other publications.
So that depends. Sometimes there are restrictions as to where things can be published if they're already published elsewhere. So it does depend. It depends. I know it's not really a definitive answer. What you might want to do is, if that isn't an option for the particular one that you're hoping to do, maybe you can do an abridged version or sort of narrow it down to an article that is sufficient depending on the journal itself. But I do know that there are restrictions in some cases.
So in general, if you're publishing in academic journals, you cannot publish something that has been published before. Now, you can use your honors research and develop it further and try to convert that into a journal article and then cite what you did in your undergraduate thesis.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Any other questions about the process, what to expect, next steps?
Yeah, maybe one thing I can say is that if if you're not sure which faculty member you want to work with, that's something that you can ask me. So send me an email and describe, sort of what your research interests are, and I can help you identify which faculty member would be a good fit.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes that's the hardest part.
Dr. Mirilovic, could you post your email in the chat so we can have access to it? If that's okay, or is it online?
Sure. So my email is just my first name, period, my last name at ucf.edu, but I'll try to also add it to the chat.
Thank you.
Any other questions out there? We're a little ahead of schedule, but I know it's a lot of info. Okay. Well, I'll put my, can you do both internship? Paula, I don't know of anything that would prevent you from doing that. I would just consider all of your obligations, consider the amount of time you have. Just like with anything, if you were also balancing this with a ton of classes or, a job, you want to make sure that you're taking on enough that allows you to be successful, but also a reasonable amount of things that allow you to dedicate 100% to everything. So if you already feel like you're sort of pressed for time for things, then the honors thesis may not be for you. But if based on the anticipated schedule that you think you'll have for the internship, I don't see why not. I'm also going to put my email in the chat. But then for general sort of questions to set up a peer advising session, honorsresearch@ucf.edu is the correct email. Last call for questions, comments,
Yeah. First of all, thank you for the presentation. It was very informative. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Earlier, when you're talking about eligibility requirements, you're saying you could be flexible, for example, if a student didn't have like all the upper division courses completed.
So if I see that you don't already have them completed, but I can tell, okay, they have 0, but I can tell they're taking 12 credits this semester, so they will qualify at the end of the current semester. That's where the flexibility comes in with issuing a conditional acceptance as opposed to just a no and saying, oh, come back later.
Yeah.
But if I don't see those credits currently being taken, then it would be a no, and it would be encouraged that you apply once you've met that criteria.
Yeah. So if they have the credits,
Does that make sense?
yeah, if they have the credits planned for the semester that they apply, and you see that they're going to take those credits in that semester, then that would be.
Not in the semester that you're starting. So let's just use spring as an example. If you're hoping to start in spring, but you're not going to have the upper division credits completed by the end of fall semester this semester, then you won't be able to start HUT in spring.
Okay.
So yeah, because all of those criteria have to be met prior to starting, but sometimes a student is currently finishing it up in this current semester. So that's where that conditional acceptance comes into play.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking. That was probably a good thing to clarify. Any other questions? I think I have the roster. If not, I'll ask Nick for it, but I'll send you all an email with a link to the eligibility form. I will send just some information that we covered today, just very basics. And it was a pleasure to, thanks, Gabriella. It was a pleasure to chat with all of you. I hope that you pursue this opportunity because, like I said, it really is a way for you to stand out. I think a lot of times we like to know, okay, this all sounds great, but what does it mean for me? And what it means for you, like Dr. Mirilovic was saying, excellent letters of recommendation, a way to set yourself apart from your peers, concrete, actual research, published viewership data. I mean, the list goes on, but it's all to help you, and you could even make it fun. I know that sounds super nerdy, but this is ideally what you're hoping to do in the future. So why not start now?
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Everybody's so sweet in the chat.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.